Hey guys, it's Devin, half of Dads and Dice here, and today on Talking Solo, we are going to be going over Civolution. This is Stefan Feld's newest game that, not quite a Civolution game, but maybe a kind of futuristic civilization simulator type of game where you are controlling a computer program that is then controlling a civilization. Bit of a confusing theme there, but honestly, I think it works really well. It's kind of neat how you have this console that you upgrade and install and actually program out what you are doing to the civilization. But enough of just talking about it. Let's get over to the table and I'll show you a little bit about it. Alright, so I have the solo game set up here, and I am about halfway through the game. The game takes place over 4 rounds, or called eras. I am in the 3rd era right now, about halfway through the action phase. And pointing over here, this is going to be your flow chart of how the game actually flows. You will start up here and you will move this kind of across and flow it through, going all the way to the bottom and then back to the top, starting the next era. I'm not going to be able to explain every single action in this game, but basically over here is going to be my actual console or player board. And if you look over here on the right half of it, these are going to be all the actions that I can do. And this is kind of using your dice. So in this case, I have a 5 and a 4 to use that there. Now you have these little ideas that let you manipulate your dice, plus or minus. You can have some focus that lets you be a specific type of, if I had a focus right now, I could use that to say be a 3 and then use this 4 to get to do that action there. And so on. And so you'll be placing your dice, and that is the actions you're doing, and then you will do a actual rest action. On the left side of your board is going to be, these work as all of your resources or various buildings that you can buy. You have food, you have money, you have some goals that we're trying to accomplish, and so there's a whole lot going on in your console here, as well as all kinds of cards that you can tuck in. So as I said, I'm about halfway through the game, and so I have tucked in all of this stuff here, which is either one-time bonus, benefits, victory points, or ongoing abilities, and that sort of thing. Now, a neat thing about when you tuck cards is each tucked row or column can only be a specific color. So I have now made this my purple color and my blue color and so on. And then each row is a certain amount of victory points. And so these are all 2, 3, 4, and so on. The higher and more you place, the more points they are going to be worth. Over here on the right side of this little board here, this is actually Vicky, or the AI opponent that you are facing. And it uses these kind of 7 cards to determine what it's going to do. And honestly, it's pretty easy to run so far. I've gotten a chance to play it. I think this is my 4th time so far. This is my 3rd time so far. And it is really I think relatively simple for most of its actions. Now, out on the actual board here, so I showed you this is the kind of flow order of the phases, the eras, what scores in the eras, little events that happen up here. The main board here is going to be, you're going to be moving, getting your resources, exploring, just kind of a plethora of victory points there. And then on the left side here, here are some tracks that help you upgrade actions, or will be victory point scoring, getting your goals, getting your income chips, which I notice now I need to refill one right here. Yeah, and then the top is your cards, and you can use actions to draw more cards. There's always one visible, or you could just kind of take a random draw through the top of the deck. So the Vicky just finished their turn. They did a reset, and now it is over to me. And so these are the available dice that I have. These are my used dice up here. So I only have 2 available dice. So I have a 5 and a 4, and I could use this to do this sale or the trade action where I can sell and purchase goods. Or I could manipulate them with ideas to maybe I make this a 6, and I have a 6 and a 4, and I do this build action. There's kind of all sorts of things you can do there. What I think I'm going to do is, you know what? I actually think I am going to use the 5 and the 4 to do the trade. So I can sell 2 goods and then I can purchase, or I can do 2 sells. And each sell allows you to trade goods, 1 good for money, 1 good for victory points, and then the purchase lets you buy a good. The bottom row here, these are worth 3 each. And that is actually, I want to sell, I think I want to sell at least the jade. And so I'll get 3 money for that. And you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and sell the gold too. So that'll be my 2 sells. And so I will get 6 money for that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do up to 2 purchases. Now, if I purchase any of the goods that we've actually explored, it costs 2. But if I purchase any good that is not on the board, so like let's say I needed some, we have copper, but I needed some salt. We don't have any salt. I have to pay 4. And what I'm really thinking is I would like to build this hall here, and I'll show you how I can get this hall card here. But I'm going to need at least wood. I actually need wood and peat, but I've got a kind of a plan there. So I'm going to buy just wood for 2 gold, and I just put a little marker here for wood. And I could purchase one more thing, but I actually think that is all that I'm going to purchase right now. So that is going to be it for my turn then. I just put my dice there. Then it's over to them, and this is their deck here. And they are as simple as they're going to flip this over. And then you'll see there's a blue side and a red side. So there's 3 difficulties you can play. You can play a game where you use the blue side basically the whole game, or I guess it's 4 difficulties. You can use, it depends on when you switch over to the red. So I'm doing the medium difficulty. So for the first 2 eras, I use the left side, which is the blue. For the last 2 eras, the 3 and 4, I'm going to use the red side here. And so I'm just going to do this red side. And most of the time, it's just giving them a little bit of extra victory points. So in this case, they're going to do the 4th era scoring category. So it's looking over here. And this is simple. They're just going to get a green bump because they are planning for the future there. And then they're going to score 3 points. And that is as simple as it is for them to do that action. Then it's back over to me. And now I have no dice available in my pool, so I'm going to do this rest action here. And what I do is, first thing I'm going to do is move this action marker here, and when this gets to the red, it will trigger the end of the round. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to roll my dice here. A lot of 3s. 5, 4, and 2. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I guess I could actually slide it down as I go, but I'm going to take C, and I could either turn that into an idea, or I could turn it into food, and food feeds your people out here. And I think I'm going to turn this into an idea. I probably will need food by the end of the round, but I don't need any right now. And that's it. That is my turn. So then it is back over to them, and they are going to roll a dice. And they got a 5, so they are just going to move 2 bumps up the purple track. And they don't really claim anything along this track until they get to the victory points, in which case they will claim that. And then they are going to do, this action is, what is it called? Let me check here. it's a provision action. And so what they're going to do is they are going to place a provision, and this is how they feed their people. And they're going to place it out onto the board, basically where they have tribes, the most amount of tribes and the least amount of provisions. Now right now, all 4 of the spots they have tribes have a provision marker. So they're all equal. So in that case, we actually use this little priority kind of wheel here where we roll a die, it's a 3, and it's in a mountain. Now they don't have any tribe in a mountain, so we're going to look at grassland. They do have a tribe in a grassland here, and so you actually, now that they have 2 provisions, they are going to stand them both up right here, and basically what that means is I now cannot place a farm in that spot. Those are the spots for the farms, and so they stop me from placing a farm there, which is kind of a bummer because our event has to do with having farms, and I was actually going to build one there and there, but I will have to do something else. So back over to me, and I have this card in my hand, and I really want to play it. So what I think I'm going to do is, I'm going to use this 5. Ooh. I kind of have a couple options now. I have a kind of a handful of things I want to do and play. So let's see. I do need to get this down though. So I am going to use one of my ideas to turn that 5 into a 6. And then I'm going to use this 2 here. And that lets me do the mutation, and I'm going to do the right side playing a green card here. And so the requirement for this green card, I don't actually have to spend any resources, it is having at least 2 vision. And then if I were to play it up into the 4th level, which I don't actually have access to doing, or I guess I technically could over here, I would also have to have 2 composure. But I'm not going to do that, and now if you notice, these are all already have colors, and goals are actually kind of their own color. So my options are to place it here and here. There's good reasons for both, but I actually think I'm going to tuck it right here. And now, because I have played this, I get to upgrade my research, and all of these have, there's a level 1, level 2, level 3. I would already upgrade research once, so I'm taking that out, and now I have a level 3 or the full research. And then I just tuck this. And so that allows me, whenever I draw cards from the research stack, I can take any of the face-up cards instead of just the top one. So I said I had a plan on getting that blue card. That is what my plan actually is. Now, their deck has run out, so we're just going to give it a quick shuffle. And then I'm going to flip this, and now if you kind of turn your attention to these little symbols here, once they have 4 blue and 4 red face up, they are going to rest. And their rest is very simple. They just move the action marker and put that in the discard, and that is it. So helps the game kind of, we'll say, tick along. Now, the next action I'm going to do, I really want to research. And I do have to be concerned at how many more turns I have until the end of the round, because I'd like to get all this done this round. So let's see. I could use the 4 and the 3 to plan. I could complete a goal. I don't actually have any goals I can complete. So let's use the 4 and the 3. And instead of doing the completing a goal part of the planning, I'm actually going to use the right side, which is to get 2 focus markers specifically on a number. And could put them on the 2. I could put them on the 2. You know what? I'm going to put them on the 1 right here. And I'll show you why here in a second. But that is it for that turn. Over to them, and they're going to roll a die. It is a number 6. So they are going to get 2 orange bumps. And they are going to take an additional pink dice. Now, there is a limited amount of dice. We can kind of take them back and forth if you have the least. I've actually not been able to get any dice in just what I've been doing this game, but they do have access. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this focus marker as a 1, and I'm going to use an idea as a 2, and I am going to research. And when I research, I could either draw 2 or take 4 cards out of a stack and keep 2 of them, or I could take 2 face-up cards. And since I have these compound eyes, I can take any face-up cards instead of just the top. So one I know I want to play is this Hall, and the reason is because this era, blue is scoring, and this gives me blue bumps. So I could potentially take another blue card, but what I may look at is a purple card because I'm getting pretty close to filling this row, which does give me a bonus. Now, none of these purple cards seem very easy to do. But I might be able to do this tannery. So I'm going to take both of these 2 into my hand. Let me just glance here. I could have taken, well, either of these, and I could do them right away. This procreation would fully upgrade this, but it's not really something I'm working on this game. You know what? I'm going to just take the 2 cards that I got here and place them over to the side. And that is it for my turn there. Over to them. So they're going to do the next era scoring category, which is this times 2. And so they're just going to get 2 bumps up the green track and score an additional 3 points. And you'll wonder, why are they just scoring all of these extra points? It's really because at the end of the game, I will score points for my console and they will not. So it's kind of their way of also getting to do something there. Now, I want to, I realize I may have made a slight mistake, but I think I can live with it. So I could either do a 3 and a 1, migrate. It's not a terrible option. I could do a 4 and 1 and explore. But I think I'm actually just going to rest right now. So you can always rest when you have 3 or less dice. Yeah, I think I want to go ahead and rest now. So first thing I do of the rest, I move this marker down, and I do have to be worried because he could trigger the end on his turn, or very close to. So I rested, I then roll all my dice, and I could keep this dice or roll it. And you know what? I'm also going to roll it. And what do we have? 5. Oh, a bunch of 1s and 3. All right. And then I decide if this is going to be an idea or food, and I think I'm going to go ahead and make it an idea as well, so that I can do what I'm kind of hoping to accomplish here. So that is what I've got there for my rest. Over to them. They are going to do this era scoring category. It is the blue, so just 2 up the blue and an additional 3 points. 1, 2, 3. So again, their actions very easy to run. The biggest hiccup is whenever they build people or migrate people, but really it's not all that hard if you just kind of follow what is on the card. Okay, so I know that they're getting close to, right, resting, which will trigger the end of the round, and we'll each have 1 turn after that. So I want to make sure I get this card installed before then. So to install a blue card, I need to do this building action. So I need 6s and 4s. Now, unfortunately, I have neither of those right now, but dice can roll over, so I can use an idea to turn a 1 into a 6. And then I can use a second idea to either turn a 3 or a 5 into a 4. I probably want to, you know what, and I'm going to do this. Last turn I rested, and I meant to do this the previous rest, but I'm going to do it really quick. We have these, what are they called? Achievement or attribute tiles. And you can use these anytime on your turn as long as you meet the condition. And this condition here for this flexible civilization is having 3 of your vision. And the cost is you lose 1 vision and you get to install this chip. And it is its own color, so my options would either be up here because income can be wild, or here, so I'm going to go ahead and put it here. And this says whenever you do a rest, you gain an additional idea. So I had meant to do that last turn. I'd have an additional rest, right, or idea now. And so yeah, I'm going to use one of those ideas. I used 1 to make it a 6, and then I'm going to use 1 to do this 3 into a 4. And I am going to build. And I am going to build this card. And now, because I have this at level 3, I can do 2 things. I could either build 2 blue cards back to back, paying the full cost, or I could build 1 blue card and ignore 1 of the cost. And remember, I don't have a peat, I just have the wood. So I'm going to ignore that peat cost, and I have the wood. And since I'm only placing on the 2nd row, I don't need a 2nd wood. So that just gets tucked there. And I get 3, 1, 2, 3 blue bumps there. And I cross this line, which means I either get an income chip that I get to install and basically I can do right away, or I can bump up this track, which anytime I need to roll purple dice, I have a higher chance. And I actually think I will install the income chip. And I'm going to install it. So if I installed in this purple, I've now completed this row. And I think I might do that. Yeah, you know what? I think I am going to do that. So I am going to install this right here. I have completed this row. So a couple of things are happening here. 1, I get to do the income right away. And I'm just going to take, I am sure I could get the money, but I'm sure I could get a cotton. So I'm going to place that. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. And instead, I'm going to take this one here, which lets me get more people. So I have a chance. I'm going to roll this. This is the favor of Agira. I'm going to roll it. It is a 5. If it was a 1 or 2, I would have been successful. I wasn't, so I don't get another person there, but that's okay. Oh, and then, I'm sorry, I was putting it right here. And then I filled the row, so I get to flip this stage 4. So now anything I get in the 4th row will be worth 7 points, including the card that we start there. And that's it for my turn. Over to them. And they got 3 blue and 4 red, so they are still going. They're going to roll here. It is a 5. So they are going to discover, and they are going to discover where they are connected to the most face down sites. So this area has 2 face down, this has 2, this has 2, and this has 1. So it's one of these 3 areas, and this is where they'll use the priority. Again, whoops. 1, so forest, we're looking for sand or grassland. So it's grassland, and then we're actually going to use this second side of the card here, 5. And it's really clever because you don't notice it until you need to look for it, but subtly in the artwork are these little beacons. There's 1 here and there's 2 here. We rolled the 3, it wraps around, so it's the 1. So they are going to explore here, going right here and right here, and they will get those victory points, which is 4 victory points. And they rolled a 5, so they'll get an additional 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's it for their action there. So back over to me, and again, I know they are going to rest very, very soon. So I have to think about what can I do, and one of the things I need to do is probably feed people. So I have a 5 and a 1. I could transport, which means I could bring some goods into me. I have a 5 and a 3, which means I could produce some goods. Okay, so let's actually use the 5 and the 1 to transport, and that is transporting 3 goods that I have on the board to my supply. So these are goods that I have, but I don't have access in my supply yet. So I'm going to bring this over. That's a cotton. I'm going to bring this over. It is a stone. And then I actually have on here, it can be anything that is connected. And so maybe I do a, maybe I go ahead and do a wood, another wood for that one. Okay, over to them. And now they have 4 of each symbol or color. So they're going to go here. So we finished the round. I was first player, so that's the end of that round. So we get 1 more turn. So this is going to be my last turn of the round. And let's see. I think I could potentially rest to try and be set up for the final round. I could, you know what I think I'll actually do is I'm going to use this 3, and I'm going to use an idea for this 1 to be a 2, and I'm going to do an activity. And so we have a couple different ways you have an activities. You can have them on a card here, or you always start with 1 on the board, which is what I'm going to use, where I spend a money in order to bump any track that I want. And since blue is scoring, I am just going to bump the blue track. And now I get to upgrade any blue action. That is any of these. And you know what? My cell is at a level 2, so I'm going to take this out and it will be at a level 3. Yeah, and we'll call that good for my final action. And then their final one will be number 2. They're just going to go up once on the brown and get 3 points. Okay, so then we go over to the site phase, and there are 3 different sites that can be available for either points or a detriment. First is this Gorge of the Grimwolves. We do not have that, but we do have a glacier. So here's a glacier, and The AI Vicky is not affected, but I am, and so connected to the glacier, you have to lay down or weaken a tribe connected to the glacier. So I had one standing up on this boat. It's now laid down weakened. There's another glacier here, but I actually don't have any tribes connected to it other than this one again, so nothing happens there. And then we have a Mystic Oak, and you just get points for being next to it, so I get 1 point there. And they're not affected negatively or positively. The next part is the feeding phase, and you can actually see here that was phase 5. Vicky is never affected by any sites. Phase 6, they will feed. So first I'll feed mine. I have to feed all of the people that I have, and I only have one food. So each food that you cannot feed, you have to lay down a tribe. So not doing good with all of my strong tribes, I should say. But that's all right. And then you get a point per standing strong tribe. I have none there. But for them, the first thing they're going to do is they are going to get to do one of those provision actions. And so again, you're going to look at where they have either the most tribes and least provisions. These are all the same, so we're just going to roll. It is a 3, no mountain. They have a grassland. This one's already got that, so they will go here, and they basically will put 2 there, and that just means they fully feed everything there, including most of the wilderness. And then they score 4 points because they got 4 standing tribes there. Then it's over to the event. This indicator tells how the event is going to go. And so it's actually going to go down to this line here, being what is the worst event, and you just lose 1 person. Now, again, Vicky is never affected by weather, and I have a card I played somewhere here. You may ignore the effects of the very top and very bottom of the weather gauge beyond the white line. So normally I'd have to lose a tribe, but I don't. So that is the event. We did that. Or that is the weather, and then now it's the event. So each civilization gains 2 points for each of its own territories in which it has a hut, is that what they're called? Farm, excuse me, or boat. I didn't get around to building farms like I wanted to, but I do have 1 boat, so I get 2 points. And then I get to actually place a good on the boat. And then that is that. Next up is we are going to score this category's tile. So we get 3 points per blue mark. They are at 5, so 15 points for them. Take one of these little 100s. And then I have 6, so 18 points. So 3, 5, 86 for me. The person that scored the most, me, will be the first player, so I will retain that. And then we do our income, and so any income chip we have, we get to do. So I could stand up a tribe, which I'm going to do. I get to roll this and potentially, nope, I could use an idea if I had one, but that would be making another tribe. I get any idea, food, or production out there, and I'm just going to make an idea because they are always useful. And then the last thing I do, I can roll this, and now this is a 6. I could use my idea to bump this blue up here. But I don't think I'm going to, just because blue just scored. So we're done with scoring blue. So at best, it is 1 point at the end of the game. So I'm not too worried about that. So we'll call that good. And then we didn't do any hunting. You'd remove hunting tokens. And the last thing to do is to refill the markers there. And then it just goes back to the start of the round. And I won't quite show you the start of the round, but all it is we're going to refresh the cards, getting new cards on tops. We're going to draw new goals that we can do, and then we'll get a random resource from any area we're at. So if I'm in the hills here, I could say it's called a extra find. I can get an extra find of brimstone or clay or what have you. But I think I'm going to call it there and tell you what I think. All right, so that was a very brief look at a very large game. I hope you at least got a little taste of what is going on, but I have really been enjoying this game. I just love the openness of it and all of the decisions that come with just all the actions. You have your dice that you're kind of stuck with those and the numbers, but you have plenty of ways of mitigating it if you plan for it. There were times in that playthrough where I was just showing you that I was out of ideas and now I'm just kind of stuck with the numbers I roll. So it's always a good idea to make sure you at least have a couple ideas on hand so that you can mitigate or manipulate those dice. I like that the game guides you in the era scoring, but I found it's not a have to do. You can come out with your own path and ways of scoring and getting points. Or if you kind of don't know what to do, you can turn to the era scoring and see, oh, okay, let me just figure out a way to go up the blue track, right? Let me figure out a way of increasing my population because we're scoring people. And I think you do have to look at the era scoring. What is the in-game final scoring that's going to give a couple extra bonuses? And put that all together. I have found that Vicky is a pretty tough opponent to play, but I like the challenge and I like being able to decide what difficulty, right? If I just want to play the base easy game, I can use nothing but the blue cards, or I could switch in just Era 4, or if I ever get brave enough to do just, a hard traumatizing game, I'll do the red cards or the red side all the way. But I think it's nice, and as you saw, Vicky is very easy to run. I was very worried, right? You're laying out 7 cards for Vicky that give all these priorities of things, and you have a whole deck, right, with telling you roll this, do that. But it's pretty smooth, right? Occasionally you have to look something up, or occasionally you have to kind of think, okay, which encampment are they moving from? Which one are they going to? Where are they placing the worker? But it's really not often. Most time it's pretty cut and dry. Oh, just place this there, place that there. And it does a good job of them scoring competitively. So I highly recommend this game. I've been enjoying it multiplayer. Paul and I have both really enjoyed it multiplayer, and I think the solo is good too. And so if you're interested in the solo, and you have a gaming group, yeah, pick this thing up and play it with them, play it solo, or if you're one or the other, I think the game is good standing alone. As you just play it multiplayer, you just play it solo. It works very well both ways. Anyway, that's all I've got for this one. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help us, help our channel grow. See y'all in the next one.